Well, hello ladies, I am back, or sort of back, after a week of having influenza A and feeling like shit. I have to say, it's the worst I've felt for a long time. We're talking tonight all about self-care and how we can actually prioritize our own self-care so that we don't get sick. Because really, it took me out for a whole week, which meant no business, no clients. Like when you're running your own business, you can't afford to, right? So I'm bringing on a beautiful guest this evening, Jo Goddard. She's a good friend of mine and also a colleague. And I actually met Jo through the Mums in Business networking group. So I run the group in North Brisbane, and that's how I met Jo originally. And I actually met her and I went on her retreat. So guys, ladies, I am still a little bit nasally and snotty and my throat is tickling. So if I do have an outbreak of coughing, just bear with me. I'm going to bring Jo on so she can do most of the talking for me tonight. But I didn't want to have to cancel another live because, oh my God, last week was supposed to be a really good one, which I'm going to bring to you hopefully next week again, which is all based around cortisol. But tonight, let's talk about self-care. It's good to see you here, ladies. Hey, Pam. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Amanda. I saw people hopping on there. So I'm going to try and bring Jo on. She's actually stuck in traffic somewhere. So we're just having a laugh about that. About, how we, just got to prioritize these things and just do it, right? And not worry about what's going on. So I'm going to try and find Jo. Hopefully she's going to be on here somewhere. Hey, Olivia. Hopefully she'll have seen my live pop up in her feed. And I will try and bring her on. But while I'm trying to do that, like when we're talking about self-care and, looking after ourselves, it really is that practice of taking the time to care for yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's basically that encompassing that integrative health, which is what I do. Okay, so we're looking at all those aspects of ourselves and how we actually are taking care of ourselves, and just recognizing your own self-worth when it comes to these things. So there's some research that came out of the American Psychological Association, which I've just got up here on my screen. So women aged 40 and above generally experience high levels of stress than their younger peers, which we do. And that this unchecked stress, if not managed, can be a gateway to various health complications, including heart disease and mental health disorders. So, we've really got to, focus in on our own self-care. Things like just getting up in the morning and drinking a glass of water is self-care. Like starting that morning routine and really looking after your body and the functions of your body is self-care. Putting a menu together on a Sunday for your family to cause, so it causes less stress for you during the week is self-care, or I consider it self-care, because, at the end of the day, we're the ones that are having to run around doing all of the things. And if we haven't got all of our ducks in a row, then, things get out of place, right? And it gets hard to look after ourselves. Right, let's see where Jo is. Jo, are you coming? I can't work out even how to bring her on here without, because I can't see her on there. So just give me guest requests. It allows you to, yes. Oh, here, add. Send invitation. Sending you an invite, Jo. See you soon. And I find, that women in our 40s, or when we're in our 40s, our bodies undergo such big transitions with hormone levels, and our sleep patterns are out and all of the things. And then our metabolism becomes temperamental and things like that. So, here's Jo. She's on now.
Hello.
I think, can't hear you very well, Jo. Hang on.
Oh, that might be me.
Can you just turn your sound up a bit more?
Sure. Does that make a difference?
It's really low, but hopefully, can you hear Jo? Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear her?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's just really, really low, like I'm having to really listen in.
Maybe you've got snot in your ears too.
I know. That's why I'm asking other people. I'm not allowed to laugh either because it makes me cough. Anyway, we've got you on here, beautiful Jo. Thank you so much for joining me. So guys,
Welcome.
this is Jo. Jo's the owner and CEO of I'm Her, Women's Wellbeing and Holistic Therapies. And Jo is Brisbane-based, like myself. She's on the north side. And she's a Reiki master, Kahuna body worker. Highly recommend that, by the way. That is my self-care every month for myself. Yoni massage. Well, it's actually, is it massage therapist Yoni? It's not. Yoni is just really Yoni, isn't it?
So Yoni's the internal pelvic massage.
Yeah. Plus sensuality and pleasure mentor for women aged 35 and above. And say Jo has really helped me with scheduling a monthly self-care for myself, whether that be Reiki, whether that be massage, Kahuna massage. Like, I just make sure every month I put that in. And that's really helped me schedule something for myself that I actually go and do, and that I can't just go, oh no, I haven't got time for that. Like, I have to make time for it, right? So I know Jo sent me a message today. We're having a bit of a laugh about, the full moon and obviously what's going on at the moment with Lions Gate coming up and all of those sorts of things, and how she's feeling. She's ready to rumble, right? Hey, Jo.
Yep. Sure am. So, I don't want to do an airy fairy chat today. I want to really maybe kick some bums lovingly.
Yeah. So tell me, in terms of, self-care and making a priority for ourselves and, feeling that you are worthy of that, like, let's just have a chat around that and what your thoughts are around that.
Yeah, I think that the self-care piece is often misassumed as being like just the indulgent thing you'll get to at the end of the week because you get to a point where you deserve it or you're worthy of it. But really, you are worthy because you are a human who has to move through life, and sometimes life's ups and downs and curvies, and you need to create these anchors within your routines, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, because it's actually your self-responsibility to make sure that you're showing up the best you can in every given moment, because we want to be there as women, especially we want to be there for our families, our loved ones, our friends. We want to put the best of ourselves out there. We're naturally nurturing and caring. So it's actually a huge responsibility that we actually prioritize ourselves. It's not the fluffy thing that we just, if life just happens to create time, and then yes, we'll go and indulge. It's actually not, it's not a maybe, it's a self-responsibility. And I think we forget that self-care is actually a responsibility. It's not just a nice thing if you happen to get lucky enough to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think, this whole, the fluffiness of maybe just going and getting a massage, if you've got the time. And I was just saying before I brought you on that self-care doesn't have to be something you go and pay for necessarily.
No.
It can be breath work in the garden for 5 minutes in the morning, or drinking that first glass of water in the morning to give your body, if you've been resting for 12 hours or 8 hours or whatever it is you've had your sleep for, your body needs rehydrating, right?
Yeah.
So that to me is self-care. What other areas of things like self-care would you use that people could, that you don't have to pay for necessarily?
Oh my gosh. Well, the first thing to do is actually make a list of everything that brings you pleasure that's free, and just dump it all down. Because when you're so busy and you can't even kind of get to that place in your head of like, I don't even know what I want to do, at least there's a list and you can just grab it from there. And it's everything from, it's grabbing a really nice, refreshing glass of water. I'm just trying to follow the light.
You're fine. You're good in that light.
Okay. It's a really good drink that's actually going to hydrate you. It's like, I love to have not just a warm cup of tea in the morning, but I love to have it in the sunshine. So it's how can I bring more pleasure? For me, the word pleasure is my anchor for self-care. And obviously that aligns a lot in terms of my sensuality workshops and stuff that I do as well. It's how can I layer more pleasure into this moment, because I deserve pleasure daily. Yeah, that's my thing. And so, sometimes is, all I can manage is a warm drink in the sunshine, and have set myself up for success for the day because I've already found a way to nourish and nurture myself. Sometimes, like today, in between clients, I had a spare half an hour, so I just did gentle self-massage.
Yeah.
So where did my body want to be touched? I love using aromatherapy as well, because I find that smells can really help anchor you back into the moment, and they almost have a little indulgence to them as well. You know, if you've been busy, and a really beautiful aroma just, you know, wafts into your nose, and it just, it can kind of make you almost feel like you're expanding in the moment. So these are all the little things that you can do. You might, like, other little hacks I do is I might bake a banana bread, because I know I have to kind of feed the kids and stuff like that, but I love the way banana bread smells in my house. So it's not like I'm just doing the thing to get the kids fed. I'm doing the thing to get the kids fed, but I'm layering in the way in which that brings me more pleasure, me more delight in my day, because all those little bits stack on top of each other, and I don't get to the end of the day where I'm like, oh, thank God, this day's over. Yeah. You know, I actually feel quite content and fulfilled and satisfied at the end of the day because of all these little moments within the day. Yeah.
And I think that you know, sort of bring us back to that sort of just stopping and bringing awareness to how you feel and what, like you say, what brings you joy. And I think a lot of people are just lost in the rush of the day and the stress and all of the things that they just forget.
Absolutely.
And just
sometimes things,
you know, say that again.
Sometimes things get big and heavy. Sometimes we do have these moments in our lives where they're big and they're complicated, and maybe that's when we break out of these great routines that we had in place, because these big moments happen and the judgment comes in and the victim voice comes in and the, oh, I can't handle this comes in. But what these moments show us is how much of what we've been doing for ourselves is actually embodied, and how much of it has just kind of been this facade that we're not really grasping onto. And those big moments show us, okay, I actually need to get a little bit deeper with the self-care, the self-love, the self-responsibility. And one of the big things to do in those moments, and it's completely free, is acceptance. Yeah. Whatever season you're in, just find your way to just accept where you are. Don't give it necessarily permission to keep going, and you know, you don't want to repeat things unnecessarily, but if you can just accept that you are where you are and map it out, I'm here, this is what it feels like. Okay, what do I need? How do I need to hold space for myself right now? Do those things and then move from there. Right? So an acceptance of your emotional state and what's moving through you, and giving yourself exactly what kind of internal voice is saying, oh, I so deeply crave just 5 minutes to myself. Well, walk away from everybody else and give 5 minutes to yourself. Like, do the things, find where you are, accept that, and then do the thing. And all of that is free, completely free.
Yeah, and so there are so many things like we're just talking about then that are, you know, that are free to just go and do. So tell us a little bit more about some of the modalities that you are trained in, that people can receive, which I know one of them that I've had many of is the Kahuna massage. But yeah, tell us about some of those modalities where people can tap into, you know, to maybe come and get some self-care with you, Jo.
Yeah, sure. So my journey started as a Reiki master, Reiki student and Reiki master. So energy healing is my background, which if you haven't experienced any energy healing work, it's really sacred. It's gentle, but it has the ability to really create some big self-awareness pieces around what might be going on for you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And a well-trained practitioner can bring you into that awareness and hold space for you, and even give you a few tips and tricks on how you might leave there and continue to hold space for yourself. But as I kept working in this space, I was like, there's something missing. I need to actually I need to connect into the actual bodies. I wanted to kind of take that energy work and really deepen it in the bodies, because bodies talk to me. And so the body work that I do, and which is kind of my bread and butter, is the Kahuna bodywork, a Hawaiian massage modality, which offers this beautiful flowing technique, which is very energetic. It works with the energy meridians in the body. It very much follows the lymphatic system. And it's a very beautiful honoring of you as a physical being. And sometimes for women, this is the first touch experience they've had where they don't have to be pulled in another direction. They don't have to be needed somewhere else. They don't have to respond in any way to the touch they're receiving. They can just drop into it. And because it's flowing and nurturing, and some of the techniques actually feel like you're getting a big hug, because there's underbody and overbody at the same time.
Yeah.
It invites such powerful surrender into the moment. So it's a beautiful body work that can remind you about the magic of being in the present moment and allowing your body to be in the present moment. Sometimes we escape a lot in our heads. Yeah. This type of body work gets you back in your body and back into the moment. And then as my journey kept evolving, because I kind of lead myself first before I open up the invitation for others, I felt like, okay, I still need to go deeper. And I really noticed that when it came to the self-development world, the spiritual development world, and, you know, ultimately doing this as an act of self-care for myself, building my self-awareness, building my self-responsibility, I noticed a huge gap in this development space where no one was really advocating for bringing in the sensuality and the sexuality aspects of who we are. There wasn't a lot of that in the spiritual and personal development words. So I kind of run the experiment first. I dive in, I see what I need to see, find what I need to find, lead myself through different experiences, and then find the modalities and the tools and things I want to gift forward. So that's what led me into then the Yoni massage work, and the beautiful sensuality and sexuality workshops that I run, so that I want everyone, or I want women especially, to understand that their whole self is worthy of self-worth, self-care, self-acceptance, and there's no need to draw a line and go, oh, we just don't talk about that part, that's taboo, no one else needs to know about that. Like, sometimes that's the key, right? When I work with women to actually unlock a permission piece within them to access their pleasure, to access their desires, they quantum leap their self-care and self-worth, because they're like, oh, finally all parts of me get to be here, right? And it's almost like all these resistance things that like are conditioned, they're not necessarily there by choice, they melt away, right? And they just bounce into another level version of themselves, you know, assuming they're willing to do so, right? It takes a lot of vulnerability and willingness to do it. And I think when you lean in to these spaces that are a bit uncomfortable, when you're like, but you know you have to, like, you get that niggle and it's like, no, I need to do this for myself. The biggest, the more open you are and the more vulnerable you are, the equal the responses to that. You know, that the universal law of cause and effect, you know, the biggest, you swing that way, then the response is equal in measure as well. So coming in and offering this component around pleasure and desire, and actually having that as part of my offerings is huge, because even if women don't come for the, you know, particular pleasure related modalities, they come for the Reiki or they come for the Kahuna, they know I'm the space to be in, because they also have a curious question. They also want to like layer in some self-care and some other ways that maybe they can't talk about in other spaces. So that's the theme that I can offer, is like, come for wherever you're at. I'll meet you wherever you're at. But yes, if you've got a curious question, you want to share something, if it's a celebration, if it's an event, if it's a hurt, if it's a trauma, anything, I can hold space for that. And I guess that's where I can meet my clients, because if they get to the point where they're worthy of sharing that, then I've got the ability and willingness to hold space for that as well.
Beautiful. I love it. I love how you brought it together and how it's all evolved, because just seeing you this year, just spread your wings and fly, really. It's really cool. It's really cool. And so what's your biggest piece of advice to people around self-care? Like, if they're starting out and they don't really have awareness around that, what's your biggest piece of advice for those people?
You have to take stock of where you are, because if you only decide that you're a worthy human when you get to this level, then if you can't actually create acceptance and celebration of where you are, you actually aren't learning how to embody what it's like to celebrate yourself, to give yourself a sense of worthiness. So when you get here, the programming of judging yourself and I'm not good enough is still going to be here, and you're not actually going to celebrate until you're here, but actually you're not, because you're still conditioned to find judgments about yourself. So wherever you are, find the places where you can lean into some acceptance and love and compassion. You don't have to be like, oh, I can, you know, trick myself into accepting that this is my new standard. Don't do that, but just take stock of where you are. Give compassion and love to where you are, because when you get here, then you will actually know what it feels like to give compassion and love and be ready to celebrate that. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's so awesome. So tell us where, tell people here where they can connect with you, and we'll drop your links in the comments later on. But yeah, so my studio is on the north side of Brisbane in Bald Hills, but I'm also someone who travels a lot for my personal life, so I actually have a mobile massage side to my business. So the Huna Bodywork and the Reiki I can do in your own home. I can be mobile, and soon, but not yet, soon the workshops that I'm running around self-massage and pleasure and intimacy workshops, they're going to be jumping into the online space soon. So you don't have to be local to, you know, to come into my vortex and grab the magic that's waiting you in there. So just stalk me, basically, and there'll be the right way to connect. If it's not ready yet, it'll be ready soon. I love it. I love it. It's so cool. So I just, you know, I think if there's any questions, ladies, or if you have questions for Jo, or you want to connect in with Jo, she is a mind of information and a wealth of knowledge around all of these things. And definitely, like, I think for next time, I think we need to hop on again and talk about self-care of our vaginas as well, because in perimenopause, that is a real issue for a lot of people, for a lot of women. In that, you know, when our estrogen, we lose that estrogen, or it starts to fall, we get an imbalance in the vagina, and, you know, people can have more UTIs. They obviously get really dry. They get really uncomfortable because there's a really sort of balance of the pH in there, which is around 4. So it actually can go out of balance really, really easily. And then, you know, if you're trying to have sex and that it's uncomfortable, then you're going to get tearing and all of these things. And, you know, it is, I think that's something that we really need to talk about. And I know that's a bit of a love of yours.
It is.
I'd love to invite you back on to have that conversation. I'm sure there's a lot of ladies, pop vaginas in the comments if you want us to jump back on. Yeah, we need to talk about lube. Well, we're doing that, aren't we? We're going to do a workshop on that.
Yeah, there are. And if anyone's interested, there's 3 spots left for the Luscious Lube Night on the 23rd of August, where it's a look at the difference between oil and water, and, you know, why would you invest in organic versus just your commercial grade things, why you might want to avoid flavors and scents if you don't actually know the ingredients. And then Lindsay's going to be there too, because the basis of the conversation about why we might need it as women is the imbalances, the hormonal, you know, implications that might be causing us to need it or not need it, and just having this really wholesome conversation with a side of fun. And so that's the 23rd of August, and it's in person in Bald Hills, and there's 3 places left for anyone who's curious.
Yeah, pop curious in the comments if you want Jo to reach out to you, and you can go along to what's it called?
It's called the Luscious Lube Night.
The Luscious Lube Night. Yeah, and then we're doing a paint and sip, aren't we, as well, which I just signed up for today. So.
Yes, a paint and sip of vulva. Oh no, was it labia and liquor?
Oh, that made me laugh.
Yes.
Oh my god. Anyway, ladies,
fun in my world.
It's so much fun. I think you even had some candles made, didn't you, by Olivia?
I did. The most gorgeous candles.
Shape stuff. Yeah, they're pretty cool, actually. Vagina shape candle. I love it. But yeah, that's definitely one that we need to sort of nut out and come on and have another chat about, because so important. People are really struggling. Women are really losing their sexual desire. You know, and it's really affecting their relationships. So I'd love to come on and have that conversation.
Yes, please. I'll be there.
Well, I love you and leave you, because I know you're going to go and see your man, and you're on your way.
I am. Check out this view. Well, the first view here is the ice cream, because that's giving me the light. Oh. But I'm up at Mount Coot-tha, so can you see the city?
Oh, I can see the city.
Yeah.
Where are you at the moment?
I'm just at the top of Mount Coot-tha Lookout.
Oh, Mount Coot-tha.
Yeah. So I figured if I have to stop on the roadside somewhere, I'll stop here.
Yeah, that's a great spot up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. From coming in from Mount Coot-tha, you should have told us that from the beginning, right?
Yeah, live from Mount Coot-tha.
Yeah. Any more words of wisdom from you before we wrap this up?
Just that everyone watching is friggin' amazing and worthy. It's not a question, it's a birthright. And now you have the responsibility of actually actualizing that in your life every day, every moment that you possibly can.
So, ladies, I want to give you a goal this week to go and actually do something for you. And I want you to let us know in the comments what it is that you do.
Yes, please.
And it can, as I say, it can be the smallest thing. Getting up in the morning and having that water, or going and, sitting in the garden and just literally grounding yourself with your cup of tea out in the sunshine. Like, let us know what you do. Would love to, connect back in with you. And so if you want Jo's details, put Jo deets in the comments and we'll send those to you, but we'll put them in the comments underneath. I'll get Janelle to put them in for us. And
thanks,
I'm going to love you and leave you, and have an amazing rest of the week. I am still on recovery, so those of you that I am seeing this week, I am keeping my week to sort of a minimum because I'm looking after me and not going full steam ahead, and hopefully next week I'll be back to full capacity. So yeah. Thanks, ladies.
Rest
Thanks
well,
for
beautiful.
checking in as well on me, because I know I had so many people check in and offer their help. So thank you. Appreciate you all. Thank you, Jo, as well.
Thanks,
for
Liz.
your insights this evening on self-care, and watch this space.
Oh yeah. Night, everyone.
See you, gorgeous. Have a great one. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.